What's your memory of the rivalry?
Well, it was for as long as, whenever you show up at BW, at least back then in the 70s, it was really all about BW and Wittenberg. It actually was, it was a lot like Ohio State, Michigan, quite a bit. The year was going to basically play out where BW would win the majority of our games, if not all our games, and then Wittenberg would do the same. We were in two different divisions. There was a blue and red, and inevitably we'd end up playing each other at the end of the season for the OAC championship. So it was very much like the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, and Coach Tressel even referred to it as, when he talked about Wittenberg, he'd talk about that team down south as opposed to the team up north. So yeah, there's so many similarities to that rivalry, but certainly that's what it was all about, you know, kind of playing the year to get to Wittenberg, basically.
What do you remember about preparing for the game and the '78 Stag Bowl?
You know, it wasn't, it was interesting how it all, you know, came together. And I'll tell you a kind of a funny story. We were getting a lot of press back then. We'd have the media would come out, you know, then it was TV and just newspaper and that. And there were two gentlemen. There was Neb Chandler. There was and Gib Shanley.
Yeah.
You know, both of them did the Browns. And Gib would be in the newsroom, and then Neb would go out and do a local thing or a remote whatever. So the preparing for that game, they had interviewed me, and Neb Chandler said, "Listen, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then you want to make a prediction for the game?" And I said, No prediction. Don't want to put that. And so he asked me a few questions, and of course the last question he asked, he goes, "How about a prediction?" And I said, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. Something really corny like that, right? But I figure I can't go wrong. They sent it back when we saw it on TV. Gib Shanley sitting there, and he goes, "Well, those are things that we could all live by. Those are predictions, Joe, that we could all live by. So what do you figure, Tommy? The game ends in a tie." So we play Wittenberg for the OAC championship. The game ends up in a tie. We go into one division or one round to get to the Stag Bowl, and then end up playing, of course, Wittenberg in the championship game. But you know, in terms of what we went through, I don't think a lot changed from our regular season preparation to the to when we got into the playoffs. We kind of approached each game the same way that we normally did throughout the week, and we were just happy to be playing ball, you know, something we loved doing, and having a chance to advance and to potentially get to the national championship. I'll tell you one thing that was, again, similar to like the Ohio State Michigan game, the build-up. We would often on Thursday throughout the whole year, we would put a little bit aside for maybe a trick play, something different that we typically wouldn't run, and we would do that every Thursday. And sure enough, when it came time for the Stag Bowl, the first possession we had, we were inside the 10-yard line, and our running back Bob Wujek comes in with a play, and he kind of forgot the name of the play, and he goes, "It's step one where you pitch it to John and then you go out for a pass." And I go, "Geez." I go, "Timeout, ref." So went back because I thought, wow, that was really crazy. We've never run the play ever, only in practice. And called timeout, went back, talked to Coach Tressel, and he says, "I think this is good. I think this is what we should do." And lo and behold, we did. I pitched it to Johnny. He said, you know, he would kid me. He goes, "You know, do what you normally do after you pitch it. Nothing. Just pretend like you're not, you know, doing anything." And I went out for a pass and was fortunate to catch the first pass of the first score of the game. So, you know, and that was part of the preparation going into it, really.
What does renewing the rivalry mean to you and the rest of the alumni?
You know, I don't. Is it really still going? Because I don't see
September 7th.
September 7th.
And then next year, and then I think it'll be dormant again.
I think it's great. I think it'll be awesome. I think it'd be great to involve the alumni. You know, as you say, and some of the previous players I know would love to come back and see that. And I think the build up to that could be exciting and something to get excited about, for sure.
The weather was colder than anticipated, I believe, that day. I watched the game. It said in the 40s. Did that affect you?
No. We were. In fact, John Sander, our running back, one of our real stars of that team, he actually cut his shirt off because we were in Alabama. It felt like it's supposed to be warm, even if it wasn't going to be, and it didn't matter one bit because coming from Northeast Ohio, right? It's going to be December and it's going to be cold and all that, so. It wasn't a big deal, and like I said, some guys really were geared up to wearing half midriff shirts and that, and short sleeves and all that. I was a freeze baby. I still had my long sleeves on and everything.
So, what was the locker room like after the game?
Just one big celebration. I think that's when we actually, at least for me, it was as if we actually did this. And we won a national championship. And I don't think the road to it, the games that we played up into that championship were just another game on the schedule almost. We won big. We beat St. Lawrence 70-something to 6, Carnegie Mellon 30 to something. I mean, it was huge wins. But it was just like us going about our job. And when we got to the Stag Bowl, it was more the same. Just play the game, do what we've done all year, and then to end up winning it 24-10 like we did. It started to sink in the locker room, and then Tommy, it got even better and better because we arrived at Cleveland Hopkins Airport and we had no idea there was hundreds of people meeting us at the airport, the students and all that, and we had no idea. We celebrated on the plane, we celebrated in the locker room, on the plane, you name it, and then we kept celebrating, for days to come and weeks, and quite honestly, for years, since it's never been done before. It's hard to believe.
Last question: the final touchdown. What was going on during that?
That's a great question, because I'll tell you, this is something that I don't know if we've ever really talked about it. I was just having this kind of a text messaging with some previous alumnus from BW, some alumni from BW that were like seniors when I was a sophomore, and we had lost the OAC championship that year. We were fortunate to win it the next year, and then of course we tied our senior year, and then we went to the Stag Bowl. But the final play was an audible of all things, and the reason I mentioned the other games is in the OAC championship, I was a sophomore. I threw three interceptions, and the last one was returned for a touchdown. I single-handedly lost that game. It was terrible, worst day of my life. Had to move on. One of the things the reason I mention it is, as soon as the play was called, we were doing what was called a 118 throwback, and as soon as I did it and threw back across, the tight end wingback's going to go to the short side of the field, so we're going to run right side, wide side. He cuts across. I threw it. As soon as I threw it, linebacker dropped back. Actually, the defensive end dropped back into coverage, intercepted the ball, and goes for a touchdown. And it was like, as soon as it happened, it was like, oh my God, that's right. That's what could happen if you're not prepared. And I wasn't prepared enough. When we played in the OAC championship game, we came up against a 6-2 defense. So 6 line, 2 defense, two linebackers. I know there was a play, we were in a play, it was just a 44 dive play when I was handing off to Roger Anderchek, and we got stuffed when we did it. And it's that type of defense, probably not a good play to call. We got to get out of it, should have audibled out of it. So that stuck with me. We stalled out, we ended up turning the ball over. Wittenberg comes back, they tie the score, and again, we make the championship. So the last drive, long way around the barn. I apologize for the long way to do it. So the last drive, we come up against, I don't know if we're inside the 40, exactly where on the field. It was across the 50, and we came to up to the line of scrimmage. It was a 6-2 defense. There it was. We had a 44. The same play was called. Audible to a 48 option. So we faked the dive, roll out, pitch it to John Sander. And I remember to this day him just holding the ball up, running in for a touchdown.
And
it was awesome. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.